Hey, what's up, guys? Extra studious today. I'm in my glasses, so you're welcome. First thing I'm going to say, I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can. We're helped in that by the fact that normally when I do a workshop, the really cool thing about a workshop is it's a two-way street. We can actually have a conversation about a piece. I kind of think that's the primary benefit. Obviously, one-way street today. I'm just kind of talking at you. More to the point, talking on my phone, which is awkward. Anyway, some instructions to begin. The email where you found this video, hopefully you found this video. Also, if I do everything as I'm planning, we'll have a link to a document. Go ahead and open up that document if you haven't already. Once you do that, in that document, you'll find a body paragraph from a fellow student. So, you know, be nice in your thoughts about the student. Underneath that paragraph, I've actually included a copy of The Learned Astronomer. I thought that made all the sense in the world. That would help if you had any questions about what they were talking about, because all of us are doing different poems. So here's what I want you to do. In just a second, you'll pause this video, you'll go read over their paragraph, and if necessary, I imagine most of you will also need to take a minute and read the poem again. Go ahead and do that now. I'm an idiot. All right, so a couple things about this. I always like to bring different pieces to workshop, not only from different students, but also at different stages in the process. And if we're doing different texts, which we are for this paper, different texts. We did The Raven last time. I wanted to make sure we had a different author. Whitman was good. A lot of you were doing that one. Also, speaking to the point that students being at different stages in the process, I want to say that I imagine at least many of you would have noticed this paragraph is a little bit further along, which is to say, I don't know, to put it, like, to oversimplify it, it's like better than a lot of rough drafts you may have encountered. That's fine. There's still things to talk about. There's still things we need to do. But one point I want to make right up top: if you're still in this place where you're not entirely sure what you're supposed to be doing, or structural concerns, or any of that, this is a pretty good model for the most part on what to do. And I think there's a benefit to that, and I hope that's obvious. All right. Anyway, I want to make a couple small points before we jump into, again, what I'm hoping will be a somewhat brief sort of diatribe on the paragraph. Firstly, some small points. We need quotation marks around language when we're talking about it as a language. So here's what I mean. When they say, I think it's twice, early in the paragraph they say, he, meaning Whitman's speaker, uses strong words like tired and sick. When you call a word, you need to put quotation marks around it. So tired, quotation marks. You could conceivably not do any around and then quotation marks around sick. Now, what's funny about that, like funny in a not ha-ha way, later they say the speaker becomes tired and sick. In that instance, they're referencing the idea of being tired and sick, so technically you don't need quotation marks there. Grammar is fun. Finally, on this small point, I know they mention again words, like they use that word to talk about something from the poem, and I can't find it just now. But in that instance, again, you would need to put quotation marks around them because you're talking about them as pieces of language. The reason you do that, if anybody's curious, is it's basically to guard against possible confusion. We're not in your head when you say he uses strong words like tired and sick. You can't assume that we know where the quoted material begins and ends, right? So that's why you do that. Anyway, really hurts. All right. So doing what we need to do, a couple notes really quickly. Again, for the most part, this paragraph is a pretty strong one. I do have some thoughts on how it could be improved, so stick around for that. However, a couple points I want to make. We do, in case it's not obvious, because I've read their intro and you haven't, we do pretty clearly transition from sort of the closing idea of their introduction to the very beginning of this paragraph. All the students praise the astronomer's work except for the speaker. I'm using my memory right now, my head's super foggy, but like, I want to say the end of their introduction gets into this idea of mathematically gauging the universe, and how the lecture is all about that, and they might even perhaps begin to delve into the sort of positive reception that the lecturer receives, right? So that's great. Again, like we talked about in class, regardless of what poem you're doing, if you do your job, you're gonna have ideas in the intro, you're gonna obviously summarize a bit as you go, but you're gonna focus on those ideas, and by the end of the introduction, you should have a reasonably good idea for wherever you're gonna head in the next paragraph. And you kind of build like that. They do a similar thing at the end of this paragraph. The next line supports his thought. The speaker walks out to pursue his own individual take on the universe. For my money, I would bet that next paragraph is going to be about that individual take, what that means, why they think that. You know, you might quote a line or two to help prove that idea. That's how you move through the paper, right, regardless of what poem. What else? Let me see. Oh, all right. So again, I'm using my memory here. I want to point to a bit of a hole in the paragraph for all that it does well, and I'm hopeful we don't have to have a lengthy discussion. There's cats. I'm hopeful we don't have to have a lengthy discussion about that. I'm hoping it's somewhat clear what they do well, and again, that's a great model. The hole I've noticed, firstly, again, because you guys don't have access to their introduction, I do believe the student actually talks about the significance of math in the poem. If you, well, I say if you remember it, you scroll down, you see the learned astronomer down there. The first 3-4 lines, whatever it is, gets all into how the lecturer is just super concerned with math and formulas and charts and all this stuff. And the sort of question they raise in their introduction is, well, why is that? There's definitely this idea of measurement, of understanding the universe in this practical way, which is obviously worth exploring. And my point is, I think they do. So I want to be careful to say, I don't think that specifically is the hole I'm referencing in this paragraph, all right? However, I'm a little bit curious what this individual experience they're sort of referencing at the very end has to do with how they talk about math. What I mean is, in the next paragraph, again, they're gonna sort of diagram, analyze whatever that individual perspective is, and more to the point, what the importance of it is to Whitman's speaker. Okay, that's gonna be that paragraph. I think here, in the second half of the paragraph we have in front of us, I think we at least got to start the conversation around that dichotomy, fancy word of the day, but like, dichotomy just means like you're comparing two things. This is not like this, right? The mathematical perspective on astronomy is in some way very much unlike the speaker's individualistic ideas about astronomy. It's at least possible they don't have the room to do that here. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if we end the introduction talking about math and we talk about being tired and sick as a result of that, and we're going to move to the individual perspective, I sort of feel like we're losing the comparison the speaker's trying to draw between those two perspectives in this paragraph. We're basically skipping over it. I'm not sure how long it would take. It's entirely possible, to be clear, that it may actually take a good bit of real estate and they have to sort of push some elements of this paragraph out to the next one. I don't think any of you would really be bummed about adding length to your papers, so that's something we can all sort of do, perhaps. To end this, because I'm very much trying to keep it under 10 minutes, again, the point here is, the good points we can take away, it's pretty focused, it's fairly specific about the work, which is what we need to do. We talk in class all the time about the more general you are, the harder it actually is to say anything meaningful, and for your, hang on, cats. Anyway, the harder it is for you to say anything meaningful, and of course it leads to a much shorter paper. So dive into the details. If you take nothing else away from this example, bear in mind that it's not just specific, but it's a great model for how to move through those specific details, how to kind of hold them up for a fair length of time before moving to other details. And that's basically what we want to do. The main concern I have for this piece specifically is organizational. And again, some of those questions this student can't really answer until they have more of the paper in front of them. But I kind of want it on their radar. Obviously, I want it on yours. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. I'm not, so there's that. If you have questions about any of this, you can obviously email me. I'm gonna do my best to be on top of my computer and whatnot today. I do have to take my son to the doctor, so I'll be like incommunicado this afternoon. I think that's Latin. There's some more fancy phrases for you. And that's all I got. So I'll see you guys later.